So that he can fit. I'm not going in the night air. With no nightmare.
Well, Pierre Poilievre has thrown his hat in the ring, as of today, for leader of the Conservative Party. Despite weeks ago saying he was not interested in pursuing that, of course, circumstances change over time. So do his feelings about it, evidently. I do think he's a good talker, and he's certainly very competent about getting his voice and his messages out through social media. Unfortunately, there's always a chance that he could be led astray by the Conservative Party machine, just like clearly Scheer and O'Toole were. It'll be interesting to see what other members are going to be bidding on the leadership. Despite that, I would implore everybody, despite his good optics and brilliant social media savvy, to hold him and everyone else to a high standard. And ensure that they are consistent and they're clear with their messaging. It's not the individual so much, it's a set concessions that the Conservative Party club, I figure it's more like a club. As soon as they get into that leadership role, they're going to be beholden to that club. And they will make concessions, and their messaging will skew to whatever they want it to be, and evidently it's to the left. Considerably, as a matter of fact. So there's always an element of, well, he's not Trudeau, or he's not name your opponent. But at the end of the day, you have to be critical. And that's kind of what I feel about a lot of the people to the right of center, is that they are very critical of their own and don't just vote based on perceived winners or to get somebody out of office, as much as we all want Trudeau gone. I'd like to see him packed into a wooden crate and shipped out to sea. 5 wooden crates, actually. Somewhere cold, preferably. But Pierre is he's a very effective politician. Very well spoken. He feels like the only grown up in the room when you see him talking and putting his message out there. It's important to remember, though, he has spent his entire adult life in federal politics. He has never missed a paycheck, and he's always made a top wage. He has empathy for the working class Canadians, but just remember, he's not, and he has never been. So, you don't become a good politician by shoveling ditches, I guess, unless it's a very natural thing. I think it's definitely a science. It's a learned skill, if you want to call it that. He knows his constituents. I have a feeling that he's obviously the front runner. We don't know who else is putting a bid in, if anybody else. But I'm pretty confident he's running for the bid for the leadership. I think he's more than likely going to get it. The important thing is that he sticks to what he says, and he's very consistent with his message, and he sticks to it no matter what, because that's been the failure of the Conservative Party as of last few years anyways. They can't be putting their membership or people that believe in them They can't be putting them astray. And my only message is just be critical of everyone. Know what they are. They are politicians. They are very good at doing that. And by and large, they've spent an entire life cultivating a persona that they present to you. And they find what works really, really well. And that's what they do. If he says and does if he does what he says and says what he does, all the power to him, and I'd be pretty happy with that, actually, because he seems pretty level in terms of his presentation. He was not the first one to stand up for the truckers. He wasn't showing himself to be the leader of the people, of the working man, until it became international news, which makes me saddened a little bit. But that may have been because of the machine, and he may have had an inkling in the back of his mind that he was going to go for the leadership at some point. I think they knew O'Toole was on the chopping block, and he had it in the back of his mind that he knew that he was going to have this shot. And had he gotten kicked out of opposition, he may not have gotten that shot. He might have been ostracized from the party or from the clique. So there's some politics happening here, believe it or not. So I don't know. I keep an eye on him. Like I said, he seems like a reasonable, decent guy. He says a lot of good things. I like a lot of the stuff he says and his little takedowns that he does in Parliament. Those are all good things, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with being good at what you do. But just remember, he's a politician. He's crafted his persona. He knows exactly what you want. And he knows this through polling, and he's got a lot of really smart people that tell him exactly what you want him to be. And he's just got to be that if he becomes leader, which I think he will. He's got to stick to his convictions. And you got to hold him accountable just like anybody else and not be stuck into this get Trudeau out. So that's my rant. And there'll be another.